communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24 Global News Update. Today is March 4th, 2022. Thank you for joining me. Dallas CV is on the cusp of becoming Mushing's greatest ever champion. But he is also secure enough in himself to say that win or lose, this year's race across Alaska will be his last, at least for a while. The defending champion, who turned 35 Friday, is tied with Rick Swenson for the most Iditarod Trail Sled dog race victories, with 5. Swenson, a 71-year-old, known as the King of the Iditarod, won his titles between 1977 and 1991, and last ran the world's most famous sled dog race in 2012, the year CV won his first. CV has his shot to make history in the 50th running of the Iditarod, which starts in Anchorage on Saturday. First run in 1973, the nearly 1,000-mile, 1,609-kilometer race takes mushers and their dog teams over Alaska's unforgiving terrain, including 2 mountain ranges, the frozen Yukon River and the treacherous Bering Sea ice, to finish in the old gold rush town of Nome on Alaska's western coast. Next news. The same Mississippi legislator that proclaimed racial reconciliation after removing the Confederate battle emblem from the state flag nearly 2 years ago passed a bill Thursday to limit how race can be discussed in classrooms. Several black legislators said during the 6-hour debate that the bill could squelch honest discussion about the harmful effects of racism, because parents could complain if history lessons make white children uncomfortable. Democratic Representative Chris Bell of Jackson opposed the bill. He said some people support it because they are fearful of black people and are fearful of when white people will no longer be in the majority. In Mississippi, we always tend to live in the land of purgatory of the most negative things around. This bill adds to that purgatory, Bell said. Yes. Okay. Next news. President Joe Biden has been pushing for more U.S. factory jobs, and he'll be joined Friday by the CEO of technology company Siemens USA to announce a $54 million investment in producing equipment for the electrical infrastructure. The investment will lead to 300 additional jobs at locations that include California and Texas, according to senior Biden administration officials who insisted on anonymity to preview the event on the White House campus. Siemens USA CEO Barbara Humpton is among several manufacturing executives who've met with Biden in recent weeks to discuss their expansion plans. The White House previously highlighted plans by Intel to open a $20 billion plant in Ohio, and General Motors committing $7 billion to create 4,000 jobs for making electric vehicles in Michigan. Next news. The Supreme Court has reinstated the death sentence for convicted Boston Marathon bomber Tsarnaev. The justices, by a 6-3 vote Friday, agreed with the Biden administration's arguments that a federal appeal court was wrong to throw out the sentence of death a jury imposed on Tsarnaev for his role in the bombing that killed 3 people near the finish line of a marathon in 2013. The first U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Boston ruled in 2020 that the trial judge improperly excluded evidence that could have shown Tsarnaev was deeply influenced by his older brother, Tamerlan, and was somehow less responsible for the carnage. The appeals court also faulted the judge for not sufficiently questioning jurors about their exposure to extensive news coverage of the bombing. Quotes, Gyokar Tsarnaev committed heinous crimes. The Sixth Amendment, nonetheless, guaranteed him a fair trial before an impartial jury. He received one, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote for the majority, made up of the court's 6 conservative justices. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back to Millennium TV 24 Global News Network. Here's the continuation of the news. The already challenging path to bring home Americans jailed in Russia and Ukraine is likely even more complicated now, with a war overwhelming the region, and increasingly hostile relations between the United States and the Kremlin. Marine veteran Trevor Reed and corporate security executive Paul Whelan are each serving lengthy prison sentences in Russia. But their families have long held out hope for some sort of deal, including a possible prisoner exchange that could get their loved ones home. Now, though, that seems a much harder task. Um, quotes. I can't help but think that this is not going to help Trevor get released sooner. Obviously. Reed's mother, Paula Reed, said in an interview with the Associated Press. Next news. Days, a massive Russian military convoy has sat largely stalled by about 15 miles, 25 kilometers outside Kiev, the Ukrainian capital, which is believed to be the central target of Moscow's war. 8 days into the war, the expanse of Russian supply trucks, troops, and weapons has been plagued with fuel and food shortages and logistical challenges, including weather and mud. Ukrainian troops have managed to attack and incapacitate some vehicles at the front, creating a traffic jam. The Russians have largely shielded the convoy from attack by air, according to Western officials and analysts. The convoy's lack of measurable progress has triggered questions about the short and long-term implications and what it says about Russia's war planning. But will it affect the war's outcome? Mason Clark, Russia analyst at the Institute for the Study of War, says the convoy saga may be emblematic of shortcomings in the Russian army, which is relatively inexperienced in the execution of large-scale operations that combine air, ground, and naval forces. But it is unlikely to prevent Russia from prevailing against the outgunned and outnumbered Ukrainian defenders. Next news. Russian troops Friday seized the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe after a middle of the night attack that set it on fire and briefly raised worldwide fears of a catastrophe. In the most chilling turn in Moscow's invasion of Ukraine yet, firefighters put out the blaze and no radiation was released. UN and Ukrainian officials said, as Russian forces pressed on with their week-old offensive on multiple fronts. And the number of refugees fleeing the country topped 1.2 million. While the vast Russian armored column threatening Kiev appeared stalled outside the capital, President Vladimir Putin's forces have ramped up their use of air power, launching hundreds of missiles and artillery attacks on cities and other sites, and made significant gains on the ground in the south in an apparent bid to cut off Ukraine's access to the sea. In the attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in the southeastern city of Enerhodar, the chief of the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Mariano Grossi, said a Russian projectile hit a training center, not any of its six reactors. Next news. The UN Refugee Agency reported Friday that more than 1.2 million people have left Ukraine since the fighting began. More than 165,000 people left the country on Thursday, down slightly from Wednesday's count and well under the nearly 200,000 on Tuesday, which amounted to the peak one-day outflow of people from Ukraine since the conflict began, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Its data portal on Ukraine showed that the majority, about 650,000, had gone to neighboring Poland, and roughly 145,000 had fled to Hungary. Another 103,000 people were in Moldova, and more than 90,000 people were in Slovakia. UNHCR spokesperson Shabia Mantu said, quotes, "We know that the majority are women, children, and the elderly," end quotes. But she was unable to provide a more specific breakdown by age or gender. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to today's Global News, Millennium News TV 24. Here's the news continued. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is the largest conflict that Europe has seen since World War II, with Russia conducting a multi-pronged offensive across the country. The Russian military has pummeled wide areas in Ukraine with airstrikes and has conducted major rocket and artillery bombardments, resulting in large numbers of casualties. Here is a look at some of the weapons being used in the conflict. The Russian military has used warplanes and Caliber cruise missiles to hit facilities throughout the country. The Caliber is a precision weapon, but Ukrainian military facilities and government buildings apparently targeted by those missiles in Kiev and Kharkiv are located close to residential areas, resulting in civilian casualties. The same applies to missiles carried by Russian warplanes, which targeted military infrastructures in strikes that also involved collateral damage. Next news. Russians could face prison sentences of up to 15 years for spreading information that goes against the Russian government's position on the war in Ukraine. A move that comes as authorities block access to foreign media outlets. The Russian parliament voted unanimously Friday to approve a draft law criminalizing the intentional spreading of what Russia deems to be fake reports. Russian authorities have repeatedly decried reports of Russian military setbacks or civilian deaths in Ukraine as fake reports. State media outlets refer to Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a special military operation rather than a war or invasion. The draft law was approved by the lower and upper houses of parliament in quick succession and is now set to be signed into law by President Vladimir Putin to take effect as soon as Saturday. Speaker of the lower house, Vyacheslav Volodin, said. Next news. When Russia launched its war on Ukraine, a Syrian student in the city of Kharkiv joined the exodus of people fleeing the onslaught. It was the third time that 24-year-old Orwa Saif, who grew up in the suburbs of Damascus, was being displaced by war and crises. For Saif, it was a jarring deja vu. Columns of people, many on foot, carrying what few belongings they could, desperate to escape bombs and missiles. He had seen it all before in his native Syria. In quotes, the same sounds of bombs that I heard in 2013, I heard now in Kharkiv. I told my friends, I can't believe I'm reliving the same experience. Saif told Associated Press in Germany. where he has since reunited with his family. According to the United Nations, more than 1 million people have fled Ukraine following Russia's invasion. The swiftest refugee exodus this century. They fled to neighboring countries, with Poland taking in the highest number. Next news. The UN's top human rights body overwhelmingly approved a resolution Friday that aims to set up a 3-member panel of experts to monitor human rights in Ukraine. The decision demonstrates growing international unity against Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Moscow's increasing international isolation. Some 32 of the 47 member states of the UN Human Rights Council voted in favor of the resolution, while 13 abstained. Only Russia and Eritrea voted against the resolution that was proposed by Western states, and others who have spoken out against the invasion. Several countries that had either openly or tacitly supported Moscow appeared to have backed off from offering that support. China, Cuba, and Venezuela abstained Friday, despite having joined Russia and Eritrea in voting down on Monday a proposal by Ukraine's government to hold an urgent debate on the rights situation in Ukraine. The debate took place Thursday and culminated in Friday's vote. We're going to take a short break from the daily English global news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium TV 24 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of the news. Janet Jackson, Kevin Hart, and Nicki Minaj are among the headliners announced Thursday for this summer's Essence Festival of Culture, which returns to New Orleans after a two-year hiatus brought on by the coronavirus pandemic. Others tapped to entertain June 30th through July 3rd include New Edition, the Isley Brothers, Jasmine Sullivan, Summer Walker, The Roots and Friends, and D Nice and Friends. Essence Communications, Inc. said in a news release, additional talent and details will be announced later. In quotes, we are excited to welcome the family back live to New Orleans and thrilled to connect with more of our diasporic family through new digital experiences. End quote. Essence CEO Caroline Wanga said in the announcement. Next news. Designer Gabriella Hearst brandished her green-mindedness by setting her Chloe show at Paris Fashion Week on Thursday inside a famous Parisian greenhouse. Yet in the bare sands of Parc André Citroën, it was stars such as Demi Moore and Maria Sharapova, instead flowers that seemed to bloom. Here are some highlights of Thursday's Fall-Winter 2022 ready-to-wear shows. The Uruguay-born Chloe designer has made ecology the front and center of her tenure of Chloe thus far. Thursday's show was no exception, set on the sand-swept interiors of a Parisian greenhouse and designed in the colors of the climate crisis. Next news. Shane Warne, who is considered to be the greatest bowler in cricket history and helped Australia win the World Cup in 1999, has died. He was 52. Fox Sports Television, which employed Warne as a commentator, quoted a family statement early Saturday as saying he died of a suspected heart attack in Koh Samui, Thailand. Quotes. Shane was found unresponsive in his villa, and despite the best efforts of medical staff, he could not be revived. End quotes, the statement said. The family requests privacy at this time and will provide further details in due course. Known as Warne took 708 test wickets in the 145 matches for Australia from 1992 to 2007. Second only to Sri Lanka great Muttiah Muralitharan's 800 test wickets from 133 matches. Next news. Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks were the ones trying to hold on in the second half against Golden State. They pulled off what Stephen Curry and the Warriors couldn't 4 nights earlier. Doncic scored 41 points, and the Mavericks beat Golden State for the second time in 5 days, winning 122 to 113 points on Thursday night after a huge fourth quarter rally for the victory in California. Curry and the Warriors never led, but got even for the first time since early in the game during a stretch when Moses Moody scored all 13 of his points consecutively for Golden State in the fourth quarter. Spencer Dinwiddie put the Mavericks back in front for good by scoring the next 4 points for a 108-104 lead midway through the fourth in his home debut after the trade that brought him and Davis Bertans from Washington for Kristaps Porzingis. I'm not surprised, Doncic said about the surge from Dinwiddie, who finished with 17 points after getting his Dallas high with 24 in the previous Golden State meeting. In quotes, I thought it was going to take a little bit longer. He's a great player, and he's a great fit for us. End quotes. This has been the daily global news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, please like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel. It's News Channel M24. Look it up. It's really good. Viewers, now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news, views, editorials, and current events. Our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA on Android, Google Millennium News, www.millenniumnews24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24/7. Thank you. God bless us all. Thank you.